true and proud. Ride an iron horse that's free and wild. A biker true and proud. Admitting I'm scared is not allowed. May not look so mean and tough, but let me tell you so, I'm no powder puff. What it takes to ride, well, I got the stuff. I got what it takes to ride. Got what it takes to ride. Got what it takes to
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our premiere of It's Never Too Late. We believe it's never too late to have fun. It's never too late to start something new, and it's never too late to follow your dreams. We believe age is not a factor, and we hope we're going to inspire you to do some things that you always wanted to do and just never got around to doing, or afraid to do, or thought you were too old to do. And it really doesn't matter your age, because I remember when I was 35 years old, I thought, oh, the fun part of life is over. There's me. I was 33, and I was doing off-Broadway back then. But we want to talk about the show first. We're going to be talking about what Curtis and I do, what we've done in the past, and we're going to show you a trailer of some of the things that we've done and some of the things we plan to do. So let's roll the trailer now. We'll give you an idea.
But I had the notion fixed in my brain. I was riding home at night and all alone, in rain, the pouring rain. It started to drizzle when I left the camp. Figured there was a dream, such a dream, just to stare at me, the stage on which I will be singing my songs. Yes, I know before long I'll be there at the Grand Ole Opry. Riding 9 to 5 instead of working for a living. Too much office jive and writing for fulfilling for my past mistakes. I'll finally be forgiven. Roll out my 2 wheels and have a new beginning. Over a copier I've been slaving, while every penny I have been saving, just so I can travel across this land and finally implement my plan. On the last day of riding on our Daytona trip, stuck in downtown New York traffic, and we're about to flip to avoid the Bronx and GWB. We decided to take the Brooklyn Battery. Don't ever do this. Yes, we're America, and we, the people, stand together and united, all for this great and noble land. Biker, trash and ski, that's what the people say. Biker, trash and ski, that's what the people say. Deep down in her gut she was scared, and what the people thought she didn't care. So eventually she did. star by your side. It hangs in air. In the air. You can point it down and turn your palm around. Whatever is your flair. Is your flair. Yes, you take your left hand up the handlebar and you point it to the ground. To the ground. It's a subtle way that we say hey to a biker brother we found. Yes, the way we say to a biker hey is to do the biker ways.
So
Wow, wasn't that great?
that was
I
amazing.
tell you, every time I see one of those pictures, it brings me right back to where we were. You
It's,
can tell the story about each and every one of them.
yeah,
It's
and
fantastic.
we will, and we will. That's the last 13 years of our life. As you can see, I learned how to ride a motorcycle. He taught me. Never thought I'd get on a bike.
That wasn't easy either.
We rode cross country. We built our own cottage, or most of it ourselves. We've done a lot. I wrote music and songs and put albums together, and it just seems that one door always seems to open another door. And you never know where life's going to lead you when you take that very, very first step.
But always have fun, no matter what you're doing.
That's it. And that's how you know you're on the right track, is when you're having fun. So we were talking before about when I was in my 30s, and it took me a long time to fulfill my dream of being a professional actress. I was so insecure, I was so shy, and eventually I just took that first step and I went back to school and I got my master's in theater, and I ended up off Broadway with Light Opera of Manhattan singing one of the best times of my life. I tap danced and give my regards to Broadway. I was like the grandmother of the chorus. I was 33 and I was the oldest one there by like a long shot. But I just believed that if I wanted to do it and I was having fun, I could do it. And at that point, after I was in theater for about 20 years, I was 51 years old at the time. And I decided, you know what? I want some adventure in my life. I want some fun. I want a guy who'll take me camping. I just decided that I was still young enough I could do things.
Be careful what you ask
That's
for.
right. I found that out. And I said, okay, God, I'm ready for this. So the next thing you know, I wasn't getting anywhere. So I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it myself. And I took myself whitewater rafting. So you probably saw this picture that we're going to show you in the opening trailer. And I just went online and I found a place to do it. And I went whitewater rafting. And right after this picture was taken, we hit a rock and I fell out. And that trip, I almost drowned. By the grace of God and my angels, I am still here. It was a very exciting time. And I found that once you take that first step, the universe looks at you and goes, oh my gosh, she's serious. She really does want adventure. Look what she just did. So lo and behold, who do I meet?
Hello.
Okay, I was 51 at the time. You were 46?
46.
46. I robbed the cradle. So tell them what happened, how we met.
Well, apparently she went to a church function. They had a band there, and she really liked the band, so she wanted to go see where they played normally. So she found out they were going to play in Freeport. That day, I happened to be out at a fundraiser for a friend of mine who had a bar that got closed down with some violations and so on. So after the function was over, my friend and I went down to Freeport, and I see this girl with this cute butt. I got, who is that? I turn around, and she's gone. 20 minutes later, she's back. And there's this guy. He looks just like a leprechaun.
He wouldn't leave me alone. That's why I left the bar for a while. I was hoping he'd leave.
So here I am helping the damsel in distress. I jump in, I grab her, I turn her around, and this guy was still trying to dance with her. It was amazing. And that's how we met. We talked for about 2 hours that night, and she wouldn't even sit on my motorcycle.
And he says, oh, I ride it. Well, you have to realize when he came in between the two of us, I had no idea who he was. I whispered in his ear, whoever you are, thank you. I had no, and then I'm feeling this leather vest, and I'm like, oh, I think he rides a motorcycle. And then when the dance was over, we kind of, went apart. And I looked at him and go, oh, he's kind of cute. And I'm thinking, what do I have in common with a biker? And
Well, we talked for 2
we
hours
did.
that night.
We found
I
out
got back to the bar. My friend was gone.
we
I
had,
was all alone.
we found out we had a lot in common, even though we were from two completely different worlds. My day job was as a legal secretary. So I was in the corporate world and then the theater world. And he's in this motorcycle world. And he's like, come on, I'll give you a ride on my motorcycle. I'm like, no. Only crazy people ride motorcycles. There's no way, not happening.
So she is now officially crazy.
Yes, now I'm officially crazy. So anyway, we had a first date and I wouldn't get on his bike, but he kind of charmed me on the second date. Yeah. So I get on the back of his bike and he figures he'll take me back to the nautical mile where we met. And we're on Merrick Road, which is like a 30-mile-an-hour road. And
I was being nice. I wouldn't scare
he
her.
didn't
on
want
the
to scare
first
me.
ride.
So he didn't have a back seat on his bike. It was a fender and he put a little cushion this big, like that big. And he stuck it on the fender and I had to sit on that and hold on to him. And that was my back seat. I think he just had a bike like that so we could get a girl's arms around him.
Well, you got to hold on.
So we're riding down Merrick Road, 30 miles an hour, and I can't look. I got my eyes closed. I'm holding, I can't look. And we'd come to a red light and I'd open up my eyes and I'd look on either side of me and there were cars on either side and nothing between me and them. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the first time on the road is a little freaky, but you get over that pretty quick.
Yeah. So he took me to dinner and he gave me a glass of wine and gave me
You want to take the long way home?
Second glass of wine.
I guess she's liking me a little bit. So she says, okay. Well, I figured, all right, let's take the beach route. We go down towards the beach.
You know, I love the beach.
We hit the first bridge, and I know her eyes were open because all I heard was, whoa, this is beautiful.
I had finally, because there were no cars on either side. It was like 11:30 at night. I opened up my eyes. You see the stars up above. There was water on either side. It was like, wow, this is nice. And all you could hear was the hum of the motor of the motorcycle. And I was kind of hooked, like right from that very moment.
About 9 months later, you had a license?
I had a license 9 months later. But what happened was on our next date, he called me up, I guess the next day, and he said, I'm going on a camping trip. I asked for a camping trip. I'm going on we are camping up at a bike rally. So here I am. I barely know this guy going for a 3-day camp trip. Oh, that picture, they're doing motorcycle competitions. They're like, they have to go around the things or swing tires on it. I don't remember.
On the poles, yeah.
On the poles. So here I am with this biker camping at it was raining almost the entire weekend. And I had the best time. I met all these people. We started a campfire in the rain. And everybody came by with cans of beer and brought a piece of firewood and stayed. And it was the most amazing time. And that's when, if you saw our intro last week on Steve Vaccaro's show, the Chapters Wrap, where we talked about biker food and how all of a sudden I'm eating all this food and, it was burgers and fries. And I was a dancer. I was, salad. And you can't find salad at a bike rally. Just as a heads up, if you ever decide to go.
We walk on the salad. Isn't that grass?
So, they had a pig roast. They had all this food. It was great. And they had, he tells me, oh, wow, they've got aerial burnouts. Remember that?
Really cool.
I'm like, what is an aerial burnout? Come on. He grabs me by the hand. We go over and they've got this stage. I can relate to that. And they put a motorcycle on it and they lift it up in the air about 5 or 6 feet. And they put the one tire so it can't move. And the guy on the bike revs his engine so the rear tire goes and goes and goes and goes until it burns.
Well, they put the rear tire on a piece of wood because that becomes a souvenir. You get to keep that.
Well, what happens is it fills the air for like a half a mile around with black smoke from the rubber burning.
Cool.
And he's like, and I'm gagging. I can't find my way to fresh air. And I'm like, this is what bikers consider fun. This is never going to work.
Oh, it was
This
a
is
blast.
not gonna happen. But
One time a guy did that inside.
Oh.
That was a little freaky.
That was
All right,
freaky.
I didn't enjoy
Yeah,
that
that
too
was
much.
not
It
good.
filled the place with smoke instantly.
Yeah, some people get a little
Try to
crazy.
feel our way to the door. I grabbed her, I pushed my friend, and got out.
But you know what? it was fun. And that was one of the things when I met Curtis, I was like, all right, I'm not going to get serious. I'm done with that. I just want to meet a guy to have fun. That's all I want to do. Well, famous last words, because you have enough fun with someone, you want to spend more time with them. And that's what happened. And so we ended up going to a bunch more rallies, and we ended up going to Daytona. And at the time, the closest place, I had a timeshare, and the closest trade I could make for it was Titusville, which is where the Kennedy Space Center is, where NASA is. And it's 75 miles away from Daytona. So we had a long schlep both ways. It was freezing cold because it was March,
Well, we were in
beginning of March.
Titusville, so that was close to us. So we figured instead of going to Daytona that day, we went to the Kennedy Space Center. And that was just a fabulous place. There was a simulator for the space shuttle. So I could say I actually flew up there.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Kind of. And then we found out when we were there that they were going to have a night launch. And they said it would probably be the last night launch that they ever had. And it was going to be 2 days after we were supposed to leave.
Yeah, something like 2 a.m, too.
Yeah. So I called my boss and I said, I'm going to be 2 days late. We got there. We were told where to stand across from, is it the Banana River?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's called the Banana River, the Indian, well, whatever. And we were staying there, and we stood and we waited and we waited and we waited. And it was a beautiful, clear night. Stars are shining. It was going off at about 2 a.m.
They waited for the clouds to come in.
Right before, like 10 minutes before the launch, the clouds came in. So we saw about 3 seconds.
Yeah, it
Of
was
the
still
launch.
amazing.
It was
though.
still amazing. It was awesome. And then we started going to Myrtle Beach, and that's in May. So the weather's nicer. That's in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We both love South Carolina. So one of the things they had there the first time we went was this baby tiger cub. It was 3 weeks old. And for $20, you could hold the cub and they would take a picture. And it was like $20. Oh my gosh, we were like down to pennies. And we said, when are we ever going to get to hold the tiger again? So again, it was taking advantage of an opportunity. And remember the baby, it was like crying like a baby.
Oh, yeah, I had to put my finger in its mouth. Go figure, I put my finger in a tiger's mouth.
And it's sucking on his finger like a pacifier to stop crying. It was the sweetest thing. And you would think the fur would be soft, but it's like really rough, even for like a kitten tiger. It was one of the most amazing things. It was so great. You can see, look at, we're a lot less gray there.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
that?
well.
Look at that, your hair. Yeah. And then we went to, this was
I'm
probably.
finally maturing.
Yes, he's maturing. Gray looks great on guys. It looks terrible on women, but they look like distinguished. He's got the curls. He kind of
I'll
cut his
tell
curls.
you, look at that. Holy.
Oh no, Rodney's escaped.
That guy comes in, he shows up every once in a while, doesn't he?
He does he does Rodney Dangerfield better than Rodney.
Oh, yeah, they're easy being me. You gotta keep them laughing.
Oh yeah,
Oh, guys.
13
All you gotta do
years.
is make them laugh.
That's laughing for 13 years. One, I don't want to kill him. So there's a picture of us when we went to Atlantic City for, yeah, that's us. That was like our 4th or 5th date. He goes, do you like Led Zeppelin? Of course, I was going to say yes to anything at that point. Yeah, sure. And they were having Get the Lead Out playing in Atlantic City. So we went there, we walked the boardwalk, and we listened to Led Zeppelin. And we were sitting there that day at the bar, and they give you free drinks as long as you're playing. They had a video game actually inset in the bar. And so we were getting
Joker Poker, I think it was.
Is that what it was? But anyway,
Yeah.
So that's when that.
Just remember, all of these trips we take on the motorcycles. And she rides her own. So, see my ears? They still work good.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not yakking in his ears. Well, that's the next story. I decided I liked it so much, I wanted to ride my own. This way, we were dating. I didn't have to wait for him. So I went out and I surprised him. I got my permit. And it was New Year's Eve was the day I got it. I took my license. I took the test. I got my license, my permit. And when I saw him that night, I go, look, honey, what I got. And I thought he was going to be, wow, that's fantastic. And what was your reaction when I told you?
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. No, he was like, no, it's very dangerous. You don't want to do that. I'm like, well, I'm on the back. I go, yeah, but it's different.
So I figured with her determination, there was no way I was changing her mind and talking her out of it.
Yeah.
And today, she still hears my voice in her head.
Yeah.
Because it's a very serious thing. As fast as you could blink, you could die.
Yeah.
So I stress that immensely. And she's turned out to be a fantastic rider. She rides better than half the guys I know that ride.
And I got so addicted, and I took the course because you should take the MSF course, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course. Definitely take that course. And I took that, and I passed because they give you the test in a like a 250 to learn on. It's a really intense 3-day course. I totally recommend it for anybody who's going to ride. And yes, it is a serious thing. You have to really take it seriously.
But you have to get trained after that course.
Yeah, that doesn't get you out of the parking lot. So what happened was after that, Curtis took me out on a Sunday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning when no one was on the road. And he got me out. I had never made a turn before because they would have you walk your bike around, not turn. So I never really made a turn. So we pull out of where we had the bike store. Do you remember that? And we're making the right turn.
Is that the time you ran into me?
No, that's not the time I ran.
Oh,
That was a couple of days later. No. So he pulls out, he makes a right turn onto the road, and no one's on the road. And I'd never made a turn before. So you have to balance, not like a bicycle. You got a heavy thing there that when you're in first gear, you got to balance while you're going really slowly. Takes a lot of practice. So I went a little wide, and I went into the oncoming traffic lane when I made it. And then I pull up next to him at the red light, and he looks at me and goes, "What the heck was that?" And I go, "That was my very first right turn." It was so excited.
Yeah, she's all excited. I'm yelling at her.
And he's yelling at me. So we rode all the way to Southampton. My very first time on a bike, we did 150 miles. I think it was 150 miles my first day on the bike. I was totally wasted by the time I got back. I was exhausted. I didn't even have the energy to hold my bike up to fill it up with gas.
At this point, we've done thousands of miles side by side. And to remember every little trip that we've done,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard.
Yeah, we went.
But we remember most of them.
I went to Florida 11 weeks and 3 days after I got my license. I could barely take an on-ramp and an off-ramp. I was out of my mind, absolutely out of my mind. And I went, he had to have back surgery. He couldn't go. So I went with a friend of his, and we rode. We don't take the highways. We try to take like Route 13, 17, Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, the scenic route. And
you have to enjoy the ride. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And
when you get to a destination, it's just like being at home. What are you going to do? You're going to go to the bars. You're going to listen to a band. You're going to eat something. Well, you can do that anywhere.
It's the riding that's the fun.
It's everything in between your destination.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I got angels watching over me. But he says, when you come back from this trip, you'll be a biker. And I came back, and it was 2,800 miles later, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
And I had
at that point, I could introduce her to the club, and the guys there helped her, tell her other things about riding.
He was in a riding club, and they were thrilled for me, and they couldn't wait to also give me their years of experience. So I learned so much from them, and they'd let me ride in the back with them by the tail gunner. And if I stalled out, they'd wait for me, and they were wonderful. That's our dear friends on one of our 5 days. I think that was a Ramapo 500. We did a 3-day trip. That was great, and I loved hanging with the guys. That was a wonderful trip, and
so basically, we're going to be telling a lot of stories about our adventures, where we've gone on the motorcycles throughout this beautiful country. On our honeymoon, we rode around the country. We took 6 weeks, and we stopped at some beautiful places I didn't even know existed, such as Monument Valley, where they used to film most of the Westerns.
Yeah, any John Wayne movie, and you'll see Monument Valley in the background.
Of course, we went to Sturgis and so on. We'll give you the whole list, the whole rundown.
We'll show you those pictures.
Little by little, we'll tell you all about
it. The whole story. But it's been, I got so addicted when we got married, and he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to ride our bikes cross country." And we did 6 weeks. It was absolutely amazing. A lot of those pictures you saw in the trailer for our show, we took those ourselves when we were riding. This is a beautiful,
yeah, I got
beautiful
yelled at
country.
for a little of that because
he'd be behind me with his phone taking movies.
Yeah, but then she uses them.
Oh, I used them in the music. I had them, he took them, so I used them. But it's been an amazing trip, and what happened was, I'll kind of give you a sneak while you saw it on the video. I got so addicted, I started writing songs about it. I started writing songs about our motorcycle adventures, our friends, the culture, like biker food. And actually ended up doing 3 albums of original songs, and we're going to talk about that next week. And we hope you'll join us when we come back next week, and you'll find out how that all happened. That was also a dream come true, that I got to write my own songs and put out these albums. We have Biker Girl, and then they started calling me Biker Girl, and then Steve Vaccaro interviewed me, and that led to other things. So like I said in the beginning, you take one little step, just one little step, and the universe looks at you and says, oh, okay, we're going to help her. She's serious. And it opens another door. And if you walk through that door, it opens another door and opens another door. So
go as far as you can see, and then you'll see further.
You'll see further.
What's on the other side of that mountain? I don't know. When you get to the top, you can see.
We'll find out. And that's kind of been our philosophy. And it's given us some really amazing experiences. We even built our own home here. Nail by nail, we did it. So we hope that you're going to join us next week, same time, same channel. I'll put it on my Facebook page. Look on Facebook, go to Biker Songs, and you'll see Maureen Griffin, Biker Songs. And bikermo.com is my website, and you can follow us there too. Follow us on, I don't do too much on Twitter, but I do Facebook. So thank you so much for joining us. We're really thrilled you did. And we're going to give you the outro now, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Take care now.
There was a dream, such a dream, just a staring at me, the stage on which I will be singing my songs. Yes, I know.